Okay, you all set?
Oh, Sherry's trying to get on. I got to send her the link. Let's see. So we will have a full contingent. It's good. Send my sent mail.
Is that from the playground? Yes, from the playground. What do you think about me putting veggies and putting yogurt in one of these containers?
Control C. Compose.
What's the little potato?
Sherry.
All from the playground. Okay, nope, you're gonna sit down and eat. We're not gonna walk around from there to the living room. Where's your shirt?
Okay.
I got it here.
Hello.
I'm gonna put some yogurt right here, okay?
Hello.
So we have, no, that's your lunch for tomorrow.
Phone call.
Pepperoni and cheese. We'll do.
Okay, let's get back to the Zoom.
Okay, I'm gonna do yogurt right here. No. Go, give it your chin. Beautiful pie. Are you sure?
Okay, Sherry should be coming on. Whose wife is planning a trip to the playground? That's yours? Okay,
Yeah, my son's running around.
all right. Okay, as long as we know who it is. All right. Sherry should be on in a minute. This has been so frustrating trying to get this foolish demolition delay hearing going. Frank Souza has called me a half a dozen times. He just wants to get going. He's already taken the windows out of the house because he just bought them. He paid $700 a piece for them, Anderson windows, and he wants to use them in the new house. I said, go ahead, take them out, put them in a van, keep them safe. But he's still got to go to the zoning board of appeals. So I guess there was some issue on setback or something. So. Matt, I was going through some papers over at my mother's house the other day, and I opened up a file drawer, and in it was a I didn't look at it that well. I started reading it, and it was pursuant to the order of the president. They were to make a list of all eligible persons for the Civil War. Papers were in beautiful condition. I don't know how my dad ever came across these, but I think eventually we're going to get them over to the I'll talk to Judd about whether they should go with a Civil War display at the library or what. But it was pretty interesting to see them. The papers are good, heavy stock too. They're in great condition.
Paper, from my understanding, and I'm not a paper expert, so but people always think of paper as oh, it's so old, it's gonna fall apart. And back then, the paper, because they're meant to be handed out to people, and not like today where you take paper and read it once and you throw it away. It was if you think of like old newspapers, the newspaper stock was because you would get a newspaper and you'd give it to 50 other people.
Yeah.
So the paper stock was meant to hold up pretty well. So it's not surprising that they're in pretty good shape. But
We've got the original minutes book from Fellowship Lodge. That goes back to 1801. And the pages are in pretty good shape, but just to be on the safe side, we had the book duplicated. So now when somebody joins the lodge, everybody has, when you join, you sign in.
Yep.
And we make a big deal out of it. The lodge keeps 2 sets of books. So everybody gets a kick out of that. But the reproduction I had, it's absolutely beautiful. We had the original rebound and then the reproduction. We asked them about having the first one treated, but they say they can't do it with a document like that because over the years, inks have changed. So over the last 200 years, they could try one type of preservative on it and find it to dissolve in 3/4 of the print. So it would just be too expensive to test them all.
Yeah. But well, that's an incredible find. I'd love to check them out. That letter. So
yeah, I'll get them down to Judd. And then I opened up there's a couple of trunks in my mother's cellar, and one of them was filled with some newspapers, all from the beginning of World War II, Pearl Harbor, and then VE Day, VJ Day, and VE Day, front pages of the Brockton Enterprise. And there was one paper there about the hurricane of 38.
Oh.
And it was there was the front page of the Enterprise was all about world politics also. And we talk about things being screwed up right now in our world, but they're talking about breaking off negotiations with Hitler because he won't withdraw from Poland and all sorts of stuff like that. And just history repeats himself.
Yeah.
It's a shame. See, Sherry's on. You with us, Sherry? She has muted herself for some reason.
How's that?
There it is.
Okay.
Okay.
It's my phone. It's not you today.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, David.
Yeah. Just because she was a member of the Historical Commission for a while, some of you may not know, but my mom passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So,
so sorry, David.
yeah. So it was a shocker in that she was doing good. We found her a great little assisted living place to go to. And the day that she was supposed to go, she suffered some type of a seizure just out of the blue. And she ended up at Tufts. It wasn't a stroke, but it left her with impaired speech, some impaired understanding of talking to her, and a lot of trouble with swallowing. And she came out of a lot of it, but she was still having trouble with the swallowing. So they wanted to put her on a feeding tube, and she said, no, absolutely not. I do not want a feeding tube. I just want to go home and die. So I said, okay, ma, that's what you want. We'll make it happen. So we brought her home, and she was at home for about 10 days and she passed, but she was at home and she was happy.
Yep. That's all you can ask.
Yep. She had the priest over, and after the priest left, she said, okay, I spent an hour with Father Divine. I'm ready to go.
She was feisty.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so I'm in the process of going through a lot of stuff at my mother's house. I was kind of up in the air as to whether I was going to end up moving into that house, selling my mansion here on the railroad tracks. And I don't know. There's not a heck of a lot of difference in the taxes, $1,000 a year in taxes, and things get tough. I've got an apartment upstairs I can rent, so it's income property.
Rent out the whole house and move uptown.
I don't want to be a landlord.
I know.
I know a lot of people who've made a ton of money at it, but I also, I'm aware of so many horror stories. I just don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
So,
I know. We've got 2 other properties, but my kids are in them. And God
Yeah.
forbid they don't pay the mortgage. We're fine.
yeah. So,
Maybe it's just too early to make a decision.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. But anyways, so as I was telling Matt, the big reason for having this meeting tonight is just so that we can officially set the date for this foolish demolition delay bylaw hearing. The house is Frank Souza's house up on Main Street, former counselor. Not that that means anything, but had a fire in the attic, suffered tremendous water damage throughout the house. And being a house, is well over 100, 150 years old, but it would have to be gutted right down to the studs. And it started out as a barn. So he wants to tear it down, and I go by and take a look at it. 596 Main Street up by the West Bridgewater line. Doesn't really have any significant architectural features or whatever. He doesn't have the money to rebuild it anyways, because the insurance company, they have a thing called compliance insurance. Today, when if your house burned to the ground, they'd build you a new one and no problem. But when you get an old house where you got to pay to renovate it, you cannot, it's very expensive to bring an old house up to current standards. With air sealing and wiring and energy restrictions and everything else. So the insurance companies are giving everybody a hard time. They'll give you replacement cost, but not compliance cost. And if you want to take them to court, knock yourself out. So for that reason, he wants to tear it down and rebuild on the same site. So ride by, and then there's a question, Josh brought it up, as to whether we have to post the meeting for 2 weeks before we have the hearing. I read through the bylaw. I didn't see that. He didn't see it either, but he thought that's the way it was supposed to be done. So he's going to go to Dutton tomorrow and ask him. And they'll post a date, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
So I'll have a hearing. So in the meantime, go by and take a look at it. And all we really could do, if we decided that it was a super historically significant house, would be to, Frank, you got to wait 6 months and think about restoring it as a historical house. And think about it. But we can't force them to do it. So. Maybe-
Having had a total house fire in my life, you don't want to put the guy through that.
No.
It is awful. I don't know
Yeah.
what his family situation, but my kids were young with pets. It was awful.
Yeah, it's him and his wife. That's it. So that's it on the demolition delay bylaw. And I have not looked up the section of the bylaw that we sent the letter in to nail down the specific spot, but I did get a lot of compliments from some of the other boards, in particular the Recreation Commission. I guess they're having a real hard time with being bypassed by all sorts of things. And I think I don't even know what the name of it is. They're the committee that's behind the senior center. And they're upset right now because I guess they had those pickleball courts put in for the use of the seniors. And then Kim scheduled some programs down there over the summer for the Recreation Commission, but she never talked to the Recreation Commission. The seniors can't use their pickleball courts. So they're pretty upset about it. So we got a lot of comments that we went forward with it, and everybody's watching us to see if we get anything changed, because there's so many of the boards and everything have been bypassed. So any other historically significant things anybody aware of?
I did notice the dam, I was coming through there, the progress they're making.
Yes, we should all be down there taking a look at that from time to time, because I believe the street has been shut off. So they should be, I saw that they had rerouted a sidewalk over the water and I think it's a gas line that they've
Oh.
got strapped to a big steel beam that goes across the water. And so they should be demolishing that bridge, or beginning to demolish it pretty soon. Because the road is, I believe the road is shut off. It shut off the 1st of June. So that's about it that I can, historically significant things. I've heard nothing about us getting a new archivist yet. I know the latest federal budget, they were going to try to pull back on the unexpended COVID funds, and she was being paid with COVID funds. So I haven't talked to Judd yet to see if he's going to lose funding on her. Be a shame if he did, but haven't heard. And then we did get a directive saying that the town ban on meetings, personal meetings, was lifted from, as far as the state was concerned, but Dutton wanted to extend it a couple more months until he could figure out just how they're going to do it, because there's a lot of people who want to go with hybrid meetings, so they can have some Zoom components and some personal appearances. So we're still on hold there. The library where I held a couple of them, they don't have the facility down there so that they can do both. So still wait and see.
It just makes sense to have the hybrid because you have more involvement.
Yeah, it is pretty easy. I've kind of gotten used to it. I'm also 3 years older too.
You're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know, Jeff's trying to hold down a family too and go to our meeting plus the community preservation. Jeff, is there anything new with community preservation that you're aware of?
Hey all. So the CPC, they were talking about the Central Square Church, and they still have, there hasn't been any progress on that in a while. It's still phases 2 and 3 for them is on hold, but the deed restriction's in progress. So it's slowly moving, I guess.
I was told by a member of that committee from the church that they were getting some pressure from CPC to, well, we'll give you the money, but we want you to strip the vinyl siding off the church. So, and
Well, maybe, not sure.
yeah, that's the reason they're coming to the CPC to start with, because they can't afford to keep the church painted. And now you want to take the vinyl siding off, so you got to paint it every 5 years. It just doesn't make sense. And I remember when they put the vinyl siding on, there was a mad dash in the church to come up with money for the vinyl siding, because they knew that they would have to go back before the Historic District Commission if they didn't get it done fast. So that was the whole purpose of doing it.
Hmm.
So rapidly. Nothing on the
Uh,
Methodist Church?
They're still obtaining quotes for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they get some
And
serious problems.
some other stuff too, like the Parthenon friezes have been shipped, and they're being restored, I think,
Oh,
as we speak, not earlier.
I
So
know,
that's well underway.
Merrily was hopeful that those freezers could be located in the foyer of the Academy building up above. That would, I thought that was a great idea, but we're still trying to get the bank pictures hung up.
Nope.
And we've had them now for over 2 years. I'm waiting for somebody to put their foot through one of them, the one that's on the floor in the main lobby. They just, for some reason, they just can't seem to get them hung up fast enough.
As far as, and speaking of the memorial building, they need to do some extra work on there. I think, I forgot what it was for. I think it was for some stairs outside. And they're going to be taking the funds out of the historic bucket of the CPC for that.
Yeah, I seem to remember Carlton talked to me about this, about a month ago. And I forget exactly what the problem that they ran into. But yeah, it was an issue. Has anybody been in there?
No,
Not yet.
I went in there probably a month ago, and I went into Azuz's office. He's got the office in the room on the right, and they preserved many of the architectural features. I thought the hardware that they chose and so forth really didn't go. They could have done a better job with it. It was like they went down to Home Depot and bought some stuff and hung it up. But I don't know. But at least the building got preserved on the outside, and that's what it was the most dire need, because it was rotting away. I went down in the basement, and nothing's happening in the basement. Of course, it's all been done over, but when I was there, it was just a bunch of shelves, and there was nothing else going on. But I ran into Merrily the other day, and she told me that she had an intern in scanning the town reports, because she was advertising that she's got a bunch of them to get rid of. I've got a bunch of them I'd like to get rid of, and I'm going to have to clean out my dad's office. And he's got a pretty complete collection going back to the late 1800s. And I'd like to find a home for them, because I know they've all been scanned and they're all online. And we really go into them. But anyways, she was saying that she got them all scanned, and then she went to Brad and she said, "Okay, Brad, let's get them up online." And he said, "We don't have space. We don't have bandwidth." So
No cloud.
all the money they, well, I don't know. I mean, if there's a cloud thing or what the story is, but it's a shame that he wasn't brought in on the beginning of this thing, saying, "Okay, we scan them, where we're going to put them." So, and that was the purpose of doing over the basement of the memorial building, is it's supposed to be able to put all those records that are scattered all over town, the paper records, digitize them, and then make them available online. But
maybe they can store them on a USB. Those have pretty big storage capacities.
Well, let's hope they can figure it out so we can see them. It would be very useful.
Another thing from the CPC was Jennings Hill Cemetery. They've lost contact with the people there, and it's in danger of being taken off their books. So
It's, whose books are they on right now? I thought the town maintained it.
the CPC books, I think what happened was they put in a request for CPC funds to have some stuff restored after an accident.
Oh,
But it's, they haven't been in contact with anyone from CPC, and Carlton said he's been trying to get in touch with them. So it looks like that might get canceled.
too bad. I'll, next time I go in the post office, one of the postmen down there, Bobby Kerwin, he was active in that group.
Hmm.
And I'll ask him what's going on, or maybe let Carlton know to go down and see Bobby. But they must have a contact person, more than one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And the last thing was everyone wanted to congratulate you on a great presentation to the council.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have done it without the input from Matt and from Steve. But I've got to follow up on it, because if it isn't followed up on, it'll go by the wayside,
Yeah.
and it'll just be ignored. It seemed to get good response the night of the meeting from all the counselors. That was a good thing. But I've got to follow up on it. I've got to find the paragraph where it's supposed to be fixed and bring it back to them and say, okay, folks, here it is, and give it to them in black and white and verse and what page and everything else where it's supposed to be, and then put the ball in their court. But I don't know if it's appropriate to do it here, because we're not supposed to talk about political issues, but we can do it as we work under him. We work under the town manager, but I got a call from a counselor the other day that told me that the town manager's contract was up. It's supposed to be up in a year, and they've given him another year and a half, so he's got 2.5 years to go. And I don't know exactly what the reason was for that, other than they said, well, somebody used the excuse that it was real hard to find a new town manager right now because of the economy. Well, so we'll be dealing with Mr. Dutton for another 2.5 years. If that story was true, I thought it was a pretty good source, but so he's around. I can't think of any other notes of historical interest. Do you want to get together in July?
Yep.
Sometimes we had taken a break for the month of July and August. Do you want to still get together by Zoom?
Is there anything pressing, David?
There's nothing really pressing unless we get some, unless Jeff comes back to something for us from CPC to make a decision. But I'm not aware of any historic projects that are really pressing, or I suppose I could end up with something under our change to the bylaws. I might have to muster some help, but other than that, I'm not aware of anything.
Okay,
I mean, either way, anything works for me. If something is pressing that we find out at the, next couple of weeks, we can have a meeting, and if not, enjoy July off. Or
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
agree.
I wouldn't mind touching base once a month at least.
Okay. Well, we're going to be getting together in the next 1 or 2 weeks to discuss the demolition delay. And I would really like to, I don't want to get too many things going right now, but I would really like to, my personal feeling is I'd like to get rid of it, but
Hmm.
if we're going to keep it, let's try to streamline it a little bit so we don't have to have a meeting to plan a meeting. I think that's just, to me, it's a waste of time. We should be able to have a meeting and say, okay, we're going to hold a hearing, demolition delay, 2 weeks on a particular address. We advertise it and we do it.
Mhm.
But this thing having to have 2 meetings to schedule a hearing, in my opinion, it's a waste of time, and it's difficult. As you can see, I mean, we've been at this for 6 weeks now, trying to get a hearing, demolition delay hearing for this poor guy.
Is that in the bylaws? Is that why we have to
And the
jump
house
through so
on
many
Center
hoops?
Street that we're going to hold a demolition delay hearing on it, the lady withdrew, or not the lady, but the buyer withdrew because the lady was convinced that it was 2 lots, and that's why she wanted to tear the house down. But she was finally, they were able to convince her that it's only 1 lot,
Yeah.
and she wasn't going to get the money out of it that she was hoping to get.
Well, could we set a date? Are we supposed to set a date ourselves or?
Well, I was all set to set a date for next Tuesday night, but Josh feels as though he wants to check with the town manager to make sure that we can do it in 7 days as opposed to waiting another 2 weeks.
Could we just set it 2 weeks from now then? And doesn't that cover everything?
Sure, that would cover all the bases. And all right, so let's set a date for 2 weeks from tonight for the demolition delay hearing for 596 Main Street.
Right. What would that be? That would be July 4th, I think.
Oops.
Oh,
Is that
No.
July 4th?
no, we don't want to do that.
I think July 4th, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that is July
Yeah.
4th. You want to
Yeah.
do maybe the week after that? So that would be July
11th?
11th.
That sounds good to me.
I already got something on my calendar for July 11th. It was supposed to be on July 4th, but we
Does it
already
have
moved
to-
that up a week. It doesn't
Does
have
it
to be
have-
on a Tuesday night.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we do on the 5th, the July 5th.
Okay, July 5th, as long as nobody's going away for the week. Okay, July 5th,
Okay,
6 PM. And I'll let Josh know, and he can put it on the calendar.
Awesome.
okay, and he'll send the link, David?
Yep.
Okay.
The problem we've been having is he'd set the meeting and he'd put it under the historical commission. No, he'd put it on the town calendar. That was it. He put it under the town calendar and it was supposed to be automatically listed under the historical commission, but it wasn't getting there. And he said, he's had that with a number of other places and another number of other departments. And he's taken it back to the software people, but the software people haven't been able to fix it yet. So that's where that problem list lies right now. July 5th, 6 PM. And notify, yeah, okay. We got it. Okay, done.
Perfect.
All right. So,
David, this isn't historical, but while I have you, I just want to tell you what a wonderful job Laurie did trying to get those banners up with the rest of us. She was aces.
yeah, she did she did a great job, and
She really did.
I think probably 80% of the special locations, she got them. I've got them all in my head, and it was a tremendous job.
Mhm.
Me trying to pass them on to her, and
Right.
all the things I was going through at the same time. But
Yep,
Laurie did a great job, no doubt
she
about
did.
it.
And we
I
got them
think-
up. We got them
Yep.
up.
I have thanked her profusely to do it. We've got to have a meeting later on this summer to decide what we're going to do with this project in the future, because
Okay,
we got to find some different directions. It did show that the volunteers will come out, but I'd like to say that the spirit is there in the town, because a lot of other towns are picking this up now. I see them now
Mhm.
hanging in Brockton, Middleborough. And I can't help but feel that Bridgewater kind of made them look bad by not honoring their vets like we do. So we got the job done.
Yep.
So, okay. So until then, we do have a very unique banner. Unfortunately, well, it's unique in that it has 4 different people on it. Jim Brown had it put together. It came in last week, and Mike Mioli was over my house. He's, "Oh, Mr. Moore, I'll put it up. Where do you want it?" And I said, "Right down the end of Flag Street." So on Bedford Street, there's a banner with 4 people on it, and they're all his relatives. His grandmother, his father, and 2 of his kids. And his grandmother, United States Navy, World War I.
wow.
So, and she's in her uniform to boot.
Huh.
So it's awesome. So he has given me a write-up on her, and I passed it over to Mary McClay. And if you haven't seen it, it's on Facebook. But if you would like me to send you a copy of the most recent copy of the book online, I can do that. So you can read about Mrs. Brown. And when she got out of the Navy, she was able to get the postmistress job down at the prison. And she was a postmistress down there for over 30 years. So quite an interesting family.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
To get a picture of a World War I woman Navy vet in her uniform, I think that is awesome. So,
It's rare.
yep,
Yeah.
very rare. So, okay, there's nothing else.
I had one other thing.
Yes, Jeff.
It's the Facebook page related. I'm not sure if I came across a document online that it's historical, but not Bridgewater related. So I wasn't sure if I should post it on there. But
Well,
it's
what's the gist of it?
It's a 1791 document that's believed to have the earliest written reference to baseball. And it's Pittsfield, Massachusetts. So it's not Bridgewater. So I
Well,
don't know.
It's Massachusetts, though.
Yep.
I'd say put it on. Maybe it'll encourage some other things to come in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just make a little note there that Bridgewater's always been a big baseball team and a town, and that's neat.
Yeah, thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking care of that, Jeff.
Sure.
Thank you, gentlemen, and good night.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.
Talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.